Alright, I'm doing a video for my brother because Rome, Total War 2, I think I said that out of order. The Emperor Edition has come out for Mac, so now he has no excuse at all except for, you know, not wanting to spend the $60 or whatever to buy the game. To play this, he's a Civ player and maybe is little, I don't want to use the word intimidated, but he thinks that the game is focused on the real-time tactical part in the battles because that's you know, that's what's on the YouTube, that's what everyone shows that looks cool, and it's a fairly important part of the game, but it's not really the game. Rome Total War is really like a, to me it's like a historical Civ type game where the focus of the game is on the combat and the warfare parts. There's lots of other parts to it, huge economic piece, alliances and all that stuff, and role-playing parts too with your heroes and your spies and your generals and all those people. So I just want to go through the beginning of a grand campaign to kind of just show what the deal is with this game and why I love it. I love all of it. I know we had some missteps in 2013 with the release of the game, but it is really awesome now. Rome 2 is absolutely awesome. Yes, there's little issues here and there. That's typical for the series of games. The AI is still got some issues here and there, but the game itself, I mean, I want to play this game to start out and, you know, have some difficulty in the beginning, and then about maybe a third to halfway in just be able to stomp. And I know it's kind of like an ego-driven thing and all that, and it's really not realistic, but I want to just stomp everybody and get into some huge fights with some other empires and just have a lot of fun and have it just a big, really just a big ego boost in terms of like tactile. I don't want anything really that hard, so I play on normal, and I don't care. I just like to have fun and fight, and I did have some difficulty. I just finished my very first grand campaign as Rome, and I took out Carthage really fast, and I was feeling, you know, cheeky. Moved through Africa, and I could not stop myself from taking Egypt and Libya almost instantly, which put me at war with the entire Persian Empire at once. So that took a long time to get resolved. I got wiped out of like the Palmyra, Judea region, and then I had to come in through Armenia and just kind of take it that way and hold Alexandria for as long as I could, it was tough to do because they would keep coming across that area. But there's kind of a pinch point right there. But I hadn't taken out Greece or Athens yet, so they were annoying, and Salamis and all these little factions in the Med. So don't recommend going up against the Parthians and the Persians and the Medes and the Armenians and Egypt all at once, because they will. At least in my game, they all came. Alright, so I'm going to start a grand campaign here. I'm going to just go ahead and play as Rome. So you can pick some stuff. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to leave the game difficulty here. These are the different houses. Nothing went into Civil War when I was playing, but I guess it can. I went with Julia. I didn't fight the barbarians early on, so it didn't really matter, but I really like this +4 cultural conversion. I think that helped a lot. I don't think I want to have that, but I'm going to play as Julia and just go. So I'm going to play as Rome. There's lots of different factions. Here, Germans, the British, yeah. I can't stand the, I want to play as the Iceni, but I can't stand the accents of the guys. I think they really hammed it up, and it's tough for me to hear them, the generals, talk. They just sound like complete idiots. But it's good. because they're not really, you're not looking at the refined English at that point, or the Romano-British or anything like that. It's just Lord knows what kind of tribes were up there at that time. You got Macedon, Sparta, all that stuff. Athens, Piraeus. Wait, no, Macedon's not in there. Successor kingdoms. So Macedon's in there. That was probably one I'd play. Gauls, about 4 factions in there. Balkans, yeah. So that's going to be north of Greece. Carthage, which I'm going to try next. And Rome, of course, the houses. Here we go. We're going to start the campaign. That's an awesome picture, which I think is Mark Antony, because he's got hair, so it's probably not Caesar. And it's probably near the end where they both know that they better kill themselves before Augustus gets to them. Who wasn't Augustus at the time. Anyway. So lots of history, which makes this awesome. Yeah, I don't need to hear that. So we got an objective here. So your Senate or whatever, your faction will give you objectives to do. You have to control 2 provinces, which and it gives you quite a bit of cash for early part of the game. So this is Rome. Looks tiny here compared to, wow, what I just was playing, where it takes up this whole space. Got an army here. There's my general. A little navy here, and a spy. So there's 3 types of agents that you can use. And I am going to follow what I think is probably a good idea. I'm going to go ahead and run over here with my fleet. So what I'm going to do here is, I'm not going to fight this. So it's going to tell me right here, if I auto-resolve this battle, it's going to tell me, you're probably not going to win, because that's my chance of winning. That yellow and red is not. But I don't care, because I'm just going to blockade. Blockading! And then they can't get any units here. So I'm at war with this. This is the Etruscan League. That's Carthage. And that is the Etruscan League. So I'm going to also start up another navy. Let me see, can I hire here? No. I'm going to start another navy. So let's go through kind of, when you raise forces, you have to attach them to an actual guy. So I'm going to pick someone that costs no money at all, and raise a fleet. I'm going to pick the assault quadrime with principes on it. So you'll see the units change as you go. We won't see that here. And then I'm going to pile in a bunch of levies. Recruiting more ships for Rome. Just 3. That'll help. And he's not going to move because he's recruiting this guy. So I've got Hastati. And I've got Velites, which are Javelineers. So they do a lot of damage, but very short range. And then I've got some levies, which are pretty crappy, but, you know, their morale's pretty bad, but they're fast-moving. And then my Hastati, which are the basic, I just call them kind of the, you know, the Spaniards and the Etruscans and the Italians, Peninsula, and all the Spaniards kind of fight in a similar way early game with these Hastati-type guys with this little short sword and bigger shield with a little bit of armor. You gotta watch them because they aren't, you can't think of them as legionnaires right away. So I'm gonna move him here. That's my 2nd legion, so that you'll see Triarii as the general. So you don't have to do a ton on your turn. Now Rome is open for building more, so right away and build a. I want them to be happy, so I'm gonna build that. And Neapolis, I'm gonna leave. So that's my port. I want to. So this is a. These 4 things make up a province. So there's 4 in here: Arminium, Philathri, pronouncing that wrong, Neapolis, and Rome. So in order to have an edict, like tax harvesting or any of these bonuses, you have to take over the entire province. So these are little you know, towns and everything. You have to take all of them within here. So you can see that southern Italy, you're going to need Syracuse and Lilybam. So you're going to have to take over the island of Syracuse. I think that's what it's called. You got to take this over. It's controlled by Syracuse. So in order to get the whole thing, and that gives you bonuses, you're going to have to take all that over. It's not good. So these guys are not happy. Let's go over happiness here. So the Romans are 100% Roman. They're a little bit unhappy here, but nothing bad. You can see the profit you're making. Now, southern Italy is controlled by Rome, by the Roman faction, but it is not. It's only 50% Roman. So if I look at my detail screen for this, I can see 30% Hellenic, which is like the Greeks, and then Punic, which is kind of Carthaginian types. I don't know. So those are kind of your culture. It's not religion. It's kind of like, you know, your culture base. This will convert as the people, you know, are dominated by Rome, and soon you'll be able to convert everybody. So let's look at the world map here. So it is massive. So we've got, I mean, Britain is actually pretty small, but you know, this is actually one of the, I think this is the biggest total war map that for the ancients. I mean, the empire ones are massive because it's more modern, where you're all over the planet, but there's a lot of stuff in here, tons of factions, and it's just a massive thing that you're dealing with. In my grand campaign, I did a military victory where you have to take over Britain over here, you have to take over Aquitaine and some of this stuff. You can leave Spain alone, and then you have to have Armenia. You have to have a massive empire. I think you have to take over Greece and Egypt and parts of over here, I think Armenia as well. So you don't have to take out this entire area to win the game. But it's still really tough to get up in here, and you'll see like just the scale of this is so massive because there's so many provinces inside each of the, or there's so many towns and cities inside each of these provinces, and there's so much distance. When you get up into Sarmatia and Bosporus and Scythia, I was thinking I would take over the corners of the map to just have a buffer, you know, and just be shooting inward. This area is so large, your armies take so long to get anywhere that I was like, oh god, I'm not doing that. Plus, you know, you can get ambushed and it's a mess. Italy's really tight and Greece is really tight. I mean, you're fighting really close with the armies. There's not a lot of room to maneuver, but it's still small. It's still a lot of space to move around, I mean. So those guys are, I'm going to send this guy up. You can, okay, so mercenaries. Collecting units is part of the awesome thing of Rome, and it's really good for the Romans because you can get mercenaries and auxiliaries. So if you take out the Parthians, you can get Parthian horse archers, which auxiliaries, so they're not mercenaries. You can actually hire them in, and it's awesome. So there's units, different units all over the map that you can get. Everywhere you go, you're going to get different types of mercenaries. So you've got your Italian spearmen, good. You've got your hoplites, which are very dangerous in the front, and some Italian cavalry. Roman cavalry, obviously, historically, wasn't great. You know, you're looking at pretty much everybody else has good cavalry, except maybe even the southern Greeks don't. The Macedonians, their cavalry is awesome. Obviously, everyone else to the east, their cavalry has to be good because everyone's cavalry is awesome. And the Gauls and everything, their cavalry is kind of except for the light cavalry is good. So you really think about how do you augment your legions, which these aren't legionaries yet because they're just hastati. How do you augment your stuff, your armies with your mercenaries? I'm not going to get anything right now, but there's tons of options there. I'm going to run up and just go ahead and do this. So there's an army here of Etruscans. It's small. I'm going to attack them. They're probably going to run away. And I'm going to... I really want to wipe them out, but I'm going to take out this first. So you'll see my battle deployment is really high. My strength of my force versus theirs is really high. They have some mobs. some slingers, and 1 unit of Italian cavalry. I could encircle it and wait. I could run away. I can assault, which means I'm going to go in the battlefield and fight. I'm not going to show any of that stuff in this video. I'll show it in another one. So I'm just going to auto-resolve because it's going to go quick. You can use aggressive stance, balanced, or protective here. I'm just going to go balanced. It'll show some animation. Ooh, that's very nice. And so I take that city. I'm going to occupy it. I could loot it or raise it. Raise just destroys all the buildings and gives you some money, and I don't know. I don't use it very much. You can't destroy any of the cities, and nor can you build any new cities. So I'm just going to occupy. And he gets a skill point. So this is how experience works. So you've got some traits. This guy's a generous leader. Oof, ouch. And a born leader. That's always good. Authority and gravitas. Gravitas, I think, helps with your faction, and authority is like your dominance over your troops and everything. So he's pretty good authority-wise. Household, he's got +1 authority. He's not married, so I could pick someone else. Something in here, there's usually a huge list, but you gain them as you take over stuff that you can add. And then skills, you start out with some base skills that you can get, which is warrior, +1 zeal, which is kind of morale, authority. I'm going to say strategist because he's got plenty of authority, and so I'll pick that, and that adds. So that's how you kind of level up. Now there's a ton of things that these guys can get, and it branches, and I really don't know what it all is, but in terms of the branching, but they can get very powerful. So he's taken that out, and I'm exposed in Rome without a legion there. So I'm going to take my spy, and I'm going to go down here to see what's going on in Arminium with the Etruscans. So they don't have an army there. This army's too small to worry about, and I'm going to bag around back and get that. I really want to take this out fast. I want to get rid of the Etruscans as quickly as possible, because really I want to take over this whole thing and start working on either destroying Syracuse or getting them as an ally that I can use against Carthage, because Carthage is going to be my main, it's kind of your first main enemy. We're down here just by their proximity, just like the Etruscan League. You're not at war with them right away, but you don't want them in this area because they'll take an army right across here. The other thing to note is you don't really buy, you buy 2 types of boats. The boats here are, these are attack boats, kind of assault ships. They're like a fighting fleet. Your troops, this army, can go right over here as long as you have a beachhead. You can get right into the water and go across here, but they're very vulnerable to an attack fleet. So yeah, that's it. And then I'm gonna actually start another legion here, and I'm gonna take the horses. I like the horses because the general can run around. They are tough as nails on the defense if you do take the infantry anyway. So I'm gonna get, I'm gonna buy Hastati as much as I can, and then we're gonna do tech. Tech is not as robust as Civ. It has a bunch of stuff that you can do. It's pretty cool, but they really give you, every time you level up one of these techs, it's pretty huge, and you have a pretty tight tech tree. There's not a lot of branching and everything, but I'm going to do supply reforms. Once this is open, all this stuff opens up. And for military, you want to get to this as quickly as you can. So it takes a long time. This is when you start to get the really hardcore Roman legionnaires. Pretty awesome. And there's a couple interim steps here that you can get advanced. I didn't follow this one too hard, but you need it for your navy. Navy's important. And this is kind of siegecraft and all that stuff. So all of these are important, and then economic-wise, I don't want to go into that. So I've taken over this Filet 3 or whatever, and I want to expand it, and then I need to build, which I shouldn't have done that. Now this could turn into a slum, so I'm not going to beleaguer that too much, but I'm going to run the turn here. So this is covered. They may attack my fleet here, yes, but they cannot They can't get any units there while I'm bombarding it, or I've trapped it there, so we'll see what happens. So one of the things that happens is you get to watch wherever you can see. You're going to watch, and you see how fast all the factions go. Syracuse is moving. They went back to that place, Arminium, to defend it. They're not going to last long, hopefully. So it gives you warnings. So that was the turn. When you get a larger empire over this whole area, you're going to see all the stuff, and the turns can take a while to run. So usually I'll have a book on the side, and I will press turn, and I'll get up and stretch, or I just will grab some weights or whatever and just lift, just like grab a book and like read. It's not that long, but it takes a little while, and you sometimes are waiting, but it's part of the game.
That's your command.
So I am unhappy with, not unhappy with that, but I want to keep this rolling here. And I'm going to have my spy.
Commander.
I want to get these guys pretty fast. So I'm going to have these guys move down. I'm going to take my spy. I'm going to go into the army with them. So then they're going to start to get XP as spying for the army, and it'll kind of protect them. These guys, I'm not worried about this hatred here, but they're a little angry. I'm going to build a temple right away so they get happier. And these guys are going to move around this side. And that's not a very big army. That's not a very big army, but they don't have a lot there. So, and this is going to sit and wait. I'm just going to keep this here, and my other fleet is going to go here, and you can, okay, so you can roll fast, all this stuff, and I'm going to drop off ships there, and then run back and get more. Just in case they try to break out of here, I'll have a big enough fleet. So I'm going to drop these off, put them in the army. These guys are going to go back, and that will be pretty significant for holding out that. I should be able to take them out pretty quick. So these guys, if they attack this army, I'll probably run. This one I'll take them on, even though you can see how wounded your troops are there. And again, okay, so I'm going to stick these guys over here, and the reason for this is they're starting to get pissed off, and I want to slow that down until I can get some things built here. So I've got a little bit of, so this is your cash, that's your predicted income. Food is very important. Getting a little low, and it'll tell you what, if it's autumn or winter. So I would like to, I really want to build a temple there to keep them happy. So that city expanded, they're mad. And I just have to watch, because I haven't seen it before, but Syracuse could come up here and take this out. So that's really the turn. So that went really fast. I moved 2 units, moved a spy, moved this over there. I don't need to do anything with my cities. So like, this game is not focused on so much on jagging around with your cities and having a wank about, like, taking over one space and making sure this space is this and this space is this. You build buildings. You can't build olive oil if you don't have olive oil there. You can't build an iron mine if you don't have iron there. So your cities, you kind of look at them and say, what do I want? Do I want this to be a military city? Do I want this to be economic? What do I want to do? And if you have an economic area, you can tax it. If not, like if I don't tax Rome, I'm going to run out of money and food. But if I don't tax these guys, I'll still be okay, and maybe they'll be a little bit happier. You see that? Went down to 0 over here. So, but I'm going to tax them because I need the money right now. So that's what's happening. I'm going to run the turn. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff here. He's got an army, and he's close enough to the city so he can have his garrison. So all cities have garrisons. So I'm going to run this guy away because his army won't come. Alright, so he's going down here to try and take over my other stuff. I'm going to wipe out his other city here. And we got our tech advancement. So these guys are going to come and take out the city. And I'm not going to run. A lot of times for this, I would run the actual fight because I want to, have fun, because they're fun. but I'm going to auto-resolve for now. And you'll see, stabs him in the throat, he falls down, yeah, pushes him with his shield. That's so awesome. And then I'm going to occupy. So he got an XP. Oh no. Okay, so legions also get experience, and they get some skills as well. And your legions stay that way even if the general changes. So I'm going to take formidable fighters. And then my general also got a skill, another one, and I'm going to say tactician, because I want to move faster on the map. So these guys are I'm a little worried because he's running down here. I still have this there, but I saw a fleet over here that I was worried about. I don't see it anymore. Maybe there's an Etruscan fleet that I don't know about. So these guys are going to go over here so that they can get more stuff, and these guys are going to sit here. Now, if I got this fleet big enough, you can attack. Like, I can attack this and take these guys out, but their garrison is so large compared to my guys on my boats that I won't be able to do it. If you have a big enough fleet with your attack ships, you could do it. Set up. They won't come out with their fleet because it's too small. They'll get wiped out. So I think the Etruscans, that's the only place they have left, which I think is Corsica. So, alright. So that should give you kind of a feel of what's going on. This guy's going to try... Once you take out the last city of a faction, their armies are still in the field. They slowly die off, but if they capture another town somewhere else, even in an area that you're not even in, that faction's still in the game, even if they have fleet. So if you really want to wipe out a faction, you got to hunt down, take out their cities, then hunt down their armies and fleets. And some of the fleets will just kind of run around and you just ignore them. They're so small. But then you won't get credit for wiping out the faction, which you might need for for victory. So I know these guys, Epirus they get pretty uppity. They just maybe get pissed and start coming over here. Athens is right there, and Sparta is a small town. Athens always gets kind of uppity, but Epirus and Athens, I think they usually fight. So we're dealing with a lot of local, troubles here. The Gauls don't do much yet, unless you make them mad. But eventually one Gaulish faction will take over all this, and then they're coming for you. And if you look weak, they will come for you fast. And if you look strong, they'll kind of like stay back, because they know that there'll be other factions up here that are going to come behind them if they push all their armies into the south. So, all right, so that's all I'm going to do for now. My goal is to just take this army out. It's only a few units left, and I'm actually going to hire some stuff here. Some Velites and Rurari, which are spears. They're good against cavalry. They don't have any, and they've got one scary unit. The rest are kind of trash. And then he'll try to bag around back and maybe attack this or attack that. Even if I lose this, I will take out his army. So sometimes you want to bait their armies into taking your cities, and then you swoop down with your army right when they're inside the city, because they can't escape, and you can kill them all in there, which is important. So, alright. So again, this is for Matt. I hope you take a look at this and, see that it is, while it is not Civ, I have not gone to the battle screen at all, and I have taken 2 provinces and fought another battle other than that. And yeah, so Rome Total War 2, it's pretty awesome.